Okay, let's start the show. Good morning, everyone. I'm Milo, and I'm your host for today. Welcome to our session, MindStudio in Action. Use three agents to power your website. A quick background on myself. I have 20 years of experience as a
Galera,
lead
deixa eu
business
só
analyst.
diminuir o volume. Tá bom.
Hey, Suzelle, if you,
Às 9 horas da noite. Mais ou
okay, sorry for that one. Okay, so just going back on my background, I have 20 years of experience as a lead business analyst with HSBC and RBC. For the first 12 years, I worked with the Global Development Center here in Burnaby, where we developed the global online banking platform of the bank and implemented it in Asia, Europe, and the Americas. The last, the last 8 years, I worked with the Bank Canada, where we implemented new e-transfer functions and also became one of the first banks in Canada to implement a digital authentication solution for our customers who open their accounts online. Now, before we dive into my agents, I'd like to encourage everyone to join our poll so that we'll have some idea on everybody. So I'm going to launch the poll right now. Can you guys see it? Okay. I see people entering their answers now, which is good, looks good. And these questions are easy compared to our quiz at the end of the session. Just joking. Okay. And let's give it one more minute. Okay, I think everybody's good. Locked in your answer, so to speak, in one of the game shows. So in terms of feeling today, I'm very happy that everybody's curious to learn and ready to build. In terms of your knowledge, we have a good mix of OGs and newbies. Again, that is good. Okay, thank you for joining our poll. So for today, I'm going to do a show and tell kind of presentation. It's similar to what I've always done with my development team back in HSBC. The main objective of which is to show the business what's working and if they can confirm if it meets their needs. For today, I'm going to show you three of my agents that I use to power my website. This website is my Capstone project for the second bootcamp that I attended with the Do It with AI folks. That is headed by Claude Jones. And the leader of that bootcamp is none other than our maestro here, Lewis. Thank you for the learnings. Now, maybe you're asking why choose a website for my capstone. Yeah. 22 years ago, when I first landed here in Canada, the first newspaper that I read was Burnaby Now. It was a free weekly local newspaper that was delivered door to door by kids to earn their first paycheck. It was my main source of information for three things. Number one, news in and around my city. Number two, events that me and my family can go to. And number three, any local community interaction in terms of local and personal announcements. It was my go-to source again for information for 22 years until it shut down this year. The reason why I'm telling you this is because those are the same information that I want my website to share so that my community can still be updated even without the paper itself. And with that, let me share my website. Can you guys see it? Thumbs up? Okay, cool. It's Burnaby Daily. And immediately on the right side, I know you're looking at it, you know that it's made on Lovable. It's a no-code platform similar to MindStudio where you can build almost anything just by vibe coding with it. From the home page itself, you can easily see the three main sections: local news, local events, and the community board. Let's start first with the local news. So what I'm going to do is to show you a quick display of the workflow itself, and then some quick videos on how I vibe coded with the agent to make sure that it integrates well with MindStudio. But before that, I'm just going to scroll down and let you see what's on this page. I have 7 articles here, right? And this is automatically updated. I don't do anything. That's the power of the MindStudio agent that's behind this thing. And if you read the article itself, I'm not creating the articles. So I want the articles to read as if I'm just like a town crier, right? I'm just saying, hey, CBC News reported this, or NOMS Magazine reported this, right? I'm just simply stating the facts that has already been announced by other outlets, but I'm providing the community a central channel of which they can get news. And then if they want more details, they can go back to the original source. Okay, let's go to the agent itself. Can you guys see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, cool. Let me just increase the size because it's a little small for me. Okay, can you guys see it better? Okay, cool. So this agent uses some of the advanced blocks in MindStudio, namely the run workflow block and the HTTP request block. So for this one, we'll start from the very beginning, just like the sound of music. We'll go with the start block. So let me just go there. Okay. So for the start block, I've already made notations that this is the one that you set up the how and when the agent runs. The schedule, it's set based on the frequency, time zone, and any variable. So if you look at it, what I have set it so far is that it runs on a scheduled mode and every 2 days at midnight. Now, also in terms of setting, you can choose the time zone. So this is every 2 days at midnight, my time. So you can set it depending on where you are. Okay. Any questions so far on the start block? Pretty basic, yeah? Okay, cool. The next 2 blocks are the ones that does the searching and formatting of my data. The first one is the search Google News. This one lets you set up and search anything that you want to search on Google. So for me, I've set it in terms of query Burnaby, BC, Canada News, which is my city. The output would be, again, similar to what the MindStudio gods have replayed over and over again. Make sure that you remember and use the right variable, because this is the variable that will be used in the succeeding blocks. So this one I've named Burnaby News. Again, from the JSON master, Luis, use JSON because it will be easily to slice and dice the data moving forward. And then you can set how many results. For me, I don't want that many because it will be inundated with data as well as it will increase the processing time. So this block will, again, go out there on the internet, search for any news related to Burnaby, pull out 10 results, and then pass it on to the next block. The next block is where it will structure the JSON output from the previous block and put it in the right format. Okay. And then this is the sample array. And then in terms of settings, you save it to variable. And then again, make sure that the variable, for me, the variable name is something that makes it easier for me to understand what this block is doing. So this one is doing the Burnaby news in JSON. That's why I appended the JSON tag there. The sample output, and then the model settings. Again, pretty straightforward in terms of what I want to do with these two blocks, search and format the data. Any questions? Good? Okay, cool. Next one is one of the more expensive blocks for me to learn because when I learned this in our boot camp, I spent $20 running this one because it's spitting the wrong output for me every time. But after $20, I learned my lesson. So what it does, as I may mimic my, or basically quote my maestro Lewis, the run workflow block works as a manager. So the task for this one is to slice and dice the output of this block, which is basically the JSON array of all the articles that the search Google block was able to retrieve. So what it does is that think of it as a manager, and then you have 10 staff. You give each staff a link and then tell them, go to this link, look at the article, review it, and then give me a summary. So I'll show you this is the manager block, which is the run workflow, and this is the worker block, the scraper flow. Can you guys see it? Okay. So the first one is where you set up the variables. So for this one, it's going to pull out the title and the URL. Second one is pretty straightforward again. It will scrape that URL. And then the third one is where you need to put in how you want that summary to be. So for me, what I've stated is that I wanted to summarize the content by providing only facts from the article, no commentary, and then the summary narrative must be read as from someone who read the news article and just providing a summary to the community. Because as I've said, I don't pretend to be a journalist. What I plan to do is just collate information for my community to be updated. And then for the end block, this one spits out the JSON summary and then goes back to the main flow, which is our run workflow block. Any questions on the run workflow block? Okay. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat where my partner in crime, Gina, will help me monitor it. Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Okay, so let's go to the next, which is my next block is select articles. This block filters and selects the final set of articles to be published. Remember that the Google search block pulls out 10 results, yeah? But I don't want 10 articles. So you need another block to actually filter it and categorize the articles. So in this block, you'll notice as well, before I continue, that I've renamed the blocks based on what I want them to do. So just a quick one, I've named this structure as JSON, and then I've named this as the top 7 results because that's what I want the block to do, is to filter 7 articles for me. So for this one, it will take the output of the previous block and then filter the articles based on these categories. It took me several iterations of this block just to give you an idea, because if you want to be more specific, then you need more rules. And sometimes it doesn't pan out. So you have to rebuild your rules again. It's basically a test and learn for me in terms of how it will summarize the articles and what will it look like. Once the articles are ready, you go to the next block, which is the HTTP request block. This is the block that actually sends the articles to Lovable. And again, quoting our Maestro Lewis, he describes this as your pitch. You need to know who's pitching and catching the data. In this case, the HTTP request block is the one pitching the data to Lovable. And the Lovable website backend is the one catching the data and posting it into your website. Uh, Tiffany has
Yeah, I
question.
had a question.
Yeah,
I had a question, if you don't
yeah,
mind me asking. How did
yeah.
you decide on which model to use? Did you use the profiler or do some evals to decide to use Claude, or
Yeah,
is just because you have a
that,
preference for Claude?
that's a great question. One is that Claude is the mostly, I guess, suggested model in terms of logic. So for the
Mm-hmm.
blocks that I use to filter, I use Claude. But as
Mm-hmm.
you will see in my other agents, I used other models that is more known for having a bigger context, like more
Mm-hmm.
tokens.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, because it needs to have that logic to be able to write. Oh, and as well, I remember, Dimitri, and based on experience, the Claude model is good in
Mm-hmm.
terms of writing stuff.
Mm, okay.
And in this case, I wanted to filter my articles and summarize it. That's why I use the Claude model.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, it just reminded me, you need to know like what your block is going to do, because in my other blocks I used Claude, but it failed because of the context window in the number of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
It was continually running, and then because of the debugger magic that you have in MindStudio, it told me that, hey, you don't have enough tokens for context window.
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Milo, just a quick time check. It's about 10 minutes on this agent already.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll go to the last one, which is the end block, and where you can set up notifications. So for this agent, it will end the session, obviously, if it runs well, and then it can give you notification if it was successful. So just to give you an idea, I run it. It ran 2 days ago, and then this is a sample. Okay, this is a sample of a run. Okay, and then let me just do a sample run right now. Just a quick one, just a quick sample. So let's start here. Uh, Hopefully the test gods are smiling on me, because normally in some of the sessions that I attended, they have an issue. Then let's go to the debugger where we can see what's happening here. Okay, as you can see, this is where it pulls the 10 articles from Search Google. Now it's scraping. Okay, okay, now it's summarizing it. And then you'll see the one good thing to note is that you'll know how much you're actually spending. And this one, it's 0.002, right? For the Google search block. Okay, any other questions on chat, Gina, while we're waiting for this to?
Yep. So there's
show.
a question from Han on chat. She's just asking about, I'll just read it. 2 areas that I feel I need to work on: run workflow and JSON structure. Other than MindStudio University, do you have any advice on where to get a better understanding of both?
That's a great question. Shay Brar actually posted in his LinkedIn post how to easily understand JSON. And I can, in one of the sessions of Dimitri, I think they posted a link on how to better understand JSON. So I'll try to look for that link and send it to the group.
Thanks. I'll follow. I think I'm following Shay already, but I'll check out his video.
Okay. Okay. It's very cool, especially with his ladies.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, now it's doing the top 7 results. Okay, couple of more seconds, then we should be good. Any other questions on chat, Gina?
Nope, we're good for now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, wait, here's a question just came in. Can you talk a little more about how the articles are posted to the website?
Oh, yeah. So for that one, I think we can, let me just quickly share. Wait a minute here. Okay, so the run has been completed, as you can see. And then we'll look at the website. Okay, can you see it? Yeah, you'll notice the new date here. Yeah, it's now November 6th. And the collection of articles, it may be the same, but you have new stuff here. Like here in early November, stretch of Highway 1, that was not here before. Okay. Yeah, so that's how fast. And it automatically updates based on the schedule. Now, for that question on the configuration, so let me just go quickly to my video. This will be a quick one. So here, okay. Okay, can you guys see it? Sorry, let me go back. Okay, can you guys see it?
We're seeing the local news page still.
Oh, sorry. Wrong. Let me share my, okay, this one. Yeah, good. This is the lovable chat window. Can you guys see it? Good.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So quick tip for Lovable, make sure that your first 3, sorry, let me rephrase that. In Lovable, you need to make sure you have 3 instructions right away because it takes up your tokens. Just like in MindStudio, you have tokens. Here, you also have tokens. So that's why here, as you can see, I've asked, how do I set up Supabase, which is the backend that I'm using in Lovable, to get the news articles from my agent. And here's the sample output, right? And then it will do its magic. It will think on itself. And then based on your format, it will analyze it, tell you what it's going to do and the implementation plan. And then at the end of the line, it will tell you if you want what you want to do next, right? So there, it's going to ask you, what's next? And you just have to tell it, implement the plan. It will implement the plan. And then again, this is happening in a matter of seconds, right? So it's very, very fast there, right? It already mentioned that it did all this stuff, the JSON array, each article is a string, and then now you can trigger an agent. So I triggered my agent and asked, can you check if it was received? Then long story short, after a couple of iterations, it's not a quick and dry process that the first time it will work, but it you need to make sure that again for the first set of instructions, you tell it what you want to do, like where you want it to be integrated, where the articles are coming from, or your data, a sample of your data, so that it will tell you in what format or whatever integration that needs to be done, whether it creates a backend edge function or not. Yeah. So that's the whatchamacallit, the quick video on the integration. Does that answer your question? If you have any other questions, I guess on that one, just ping me and then we can have a separate session one-on-one and I can help you go through with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
There are a couple more questions that came through as well. And feel free to put your questions in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand and just talk directly, that's fine as well. Either one works. But I'm just going to read off the questions, a couple of them,
Okay.
Milo, that came in. From Daniela, she's asking, what are the settings in the HTTP block? And then she also had a follow-up question of when you give sample data to Lovable, where do you copy it from?
That is the power of your agent. So going back to your Explorer here. And again, this is the beauty of MindStudio. So let me go here. So what I did was I did a run and then I created you can do from the debugger option, right click, and then I created a breakpoint after. Once you created the breakpoint after, you choose now to configure the mock data. So when it runs, it actually saves that data, right? And this is the block that actually, sorry, I think that's the wrong block. The sample data will be after this one, because this is where it summarizes the final 7 articles. So once you configure the mock data and create a breakpoint here, you can copy that data and then post it into that Lovable chat. In terms of the setup for this one, HTTP request, can you guys see it? The URL, if you attended the session of Luis, this is what he pointed to. You need to know the edge function URL, and you'll get it from whatever platform that you're using. For me, it was easy because when I said to Lovable in the chat that, hey, I want articles from my MindStudio agent, it said that I need to create a Supabase backend to get the data and create an edge point URL. So I just took that in and then posted it here. In terms of method, it's going to be the post method. That's why also in my block here, if you'll notice, I've named it, or I've made it in the note post articles. So you have the post. Didn't do any headers. Honestly, it was a test and learn for me. I didn't know what to do because what are the headers? What are the parameters, right? So finally, I just said, oh, might as well put in my variable, right? Which is the end variable for this one. You can see top results. So that's what I entered in the body. And of course, you need to know like what's your content type. In my case, it was JSON. So once you enter this one and then send it runs, you check with Lovable, just like the video. Hey, I sent my articles from MindStudio. Can you check whether it received it? And then it will check the logs, whether it received or not. And then again, it's an iterative process. Everybody good? Okay. If there are no questions, or I'll just move. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to check in on, there are a few more questions that are specific about this, but I also want to do a time check with you and see
Oh, yeah.
what you would
Yeah,
like to do.
great. Oh, yeah. Thank you for your questions. We'll take note of them, and then I'll email you directly for the answers so that we can just continue to the next two agents because we have two more agents to go. Everybody good with that? Good? Okay, thank you. So the next agent will be for the local events. So for this one, it's similar to the previous agent where you want your MindStudio agent to retrieve the data, format it, and then send it to your front end website, which is now for me is Lovable. Now, don't be afraid, but this one is a bigger one. It's the same. The only difference between this and this, or sorry, this, it does the same process. The reason why it's broken down this way is because I already know the websites that I want the data to be coming from. So if I increase the size, I didn't need to use the Google search block because again, I know where the events that I want to collate from, and that is from the school district, the mall, and the library. And the difference between using just one block here to filter the articles, again, this is the flow, right? Is that this is a generic set of rules that you can apply. That's what I wanted it to do. But for this agent, I need to set up different rules because the websites are constructed differently. And in terms of events, it displays them differently. So for this one, let me just go quickly to the start. So for this one, the start block is similar. You set it up for automation. I set it up for scheduled, and it does it every first day of the month at midnight. The reason why I set this up is because those 3 or 4 websites that I choose to get my events from routinely updates their calendar of events at the end of the month. So I wanted to finish their run and then I take it at midnight and post it on the first day of the month. Yeah. So, and then just to show you the different rule set. So for this one, this is the filtering rules for the city website. It identifies and lists only events scheduled for the month, right? When creating JSON output, you need to do this. While for the others, let me just go to the other block. Here, just to give an example. Number 2, include the name, date, short description, the links for this event. And also, yeah, it needs to do some other stuff to make sure that the JSON object is correct. Now, again, the main reason of divvying up the blocks, because I already know the list of websites that I know to get the events from. Unlike for the first one, I don't know where the news will be coming from. That's why I use the search Google block. But for each set of website, it does the same thing. It scrapes the website. It filters for the current month of events, right? It does that for the CT website, the school website, the library, the mall. So everything is done there, similar at the same time. And then you need I added another block, which is basically meant to combine all the arrays. Because for each block, after it gets the events, similar to the Burnaby new summarizer, you need to consolidate all your output. And then the next one is after consolidating that one, it doesn't mean that it will work correctly. Trust me, because I did it. And it just jumbles up the arrays. So I had to add the validate JSON file, right? It needs to make sure that um, it must parse successfully as a complete JSON object. All the brackets and braces are properly closed, so on and so forth, just to make sure that the actual output is in the correct format for Lovable to consume. Once it does that, then you go to your HTTP block again, put in your URL, which is again the backend of Supabase, the backend of Lovable, post, select JSON, and then put in the output of the previous block. Yeah. And then once it does that, it also sends a completed run. Yeah, similar to this one. By the way, before I continue, there's also a setup that Lewis posted, I think, a week ago. So there's also a setting. If you go here, because realistically, some of your runs may fail. Yeah. So go to the main link of your agent, then go to notifications, and you can set this up, notify an error. And it actually sends you an error message, an error warning. So just an example, I did some runs this morning, and then it sent me a sample of an error notice. Something went wrong, right? Because I tried it and then didn't work. Now it's important to note again, this might be just my example because for me, if you look at my end block, I set the success notice for Burnaby Daily at protonmail.com. That is this one. Yeah. However, for error notices, it will send it to the email set at the workspace level. And you can find that out by clicking on your gear icon from your workspace. So this is the email address. So make sure to take note of that. It doesn't mean that if you have a specific address for the agent that you can actually reuse that for your error notification. I checked it and that is the setting right now. So hopefully they'll be able to actually set the error notification at the agent level. Because again, like for my case, I would want all success and error messages on that Burnaby daily email. Yeah. So again, just a quick tip on that one.
Milo, a quick
So go.
question on this.
Yes.
Can you talk about why you decided to run this agent serially instead of in parallel?
Oh, that's a good question. I've actually tried it. It's just that it failed on me, but it doesn't mean it will not work. It's just that in my case, it failed. So most of the time, I try to do the techniques that were taught in the bootcamp, but in this case, it didn't work for me. So I had to do it serially. But who knows? Maybe eventually it will work. But for now, I do it serially. But that's a good question. And again, it'll be up to you to try all those techniques to make sure what's best for your agent and what works for you in terms of what you want to achieve. So it's not cut and dry. Again, you can actually do it serially, but for me, it didn't work. Oh, sorry, the parallel thing. That's why I had to do it serially. Oh, another note as well. So in the debugger, you can generate insights, right? So once you generate the insights, even though it's a good run, if you look at your website, it doesn't actually show everything. So what you can do is that after it generates the insights, you can click on the chat option on that page, and then you can vibe code with the debugger architect of MindStudio. And it actually helped me troubleshoot some of my issues on, like, the MindStudio output is 7 articles, but on my website, it's only displaying 3. And apparently, there's an issue between Lovable, the integration between Lovable and MindStudio. So I had to vibe code and correct that one. So again, um, it's a good practice to, even though it's a good run, just generate the insights. It will confirm what was done correctly. You'll see whether each block processed correctly and what was done. And then if you go to whatever front end that it needs to post the data and it's not displaying, then vibe code it within MindStudio. Okay. Okay, so we have 15 minutes to go. I'll go directly to the other block or my other agent. And this is for the, I have a community board here. Yeah. So this page allows anybody in Burnaby to post announcements in terms of happy birthdays, any business openings, and so on and so forth. So this is a pretty simple agent. So again, you have the automation setup for the start, a generate text block, which I renamed extract form data. You'll remember this from those who attended the bootcamp, your Google Sheets, right, that you need to update in one of our assignments. And then the end block, which is again your notification whether it's a success. So this one, you need to use the webhook URL. It's pretty simple in the sense that for this one, you can choose the run mode to webhook, and then it automatically creates your webhook URL. Don't try to write it down. There's a copy button, right? Copy it and then paste it on Lovable, because this is what they need to actually send the data. Again, going back to the analogy of Meister Lewis, think of it as a catcher and pitcher again. In this case, the catcher is MindStudio and Lovable is the pitcher, because the data will come from the Lovable website in terms of form data, sends it to MindStudio agent via the webhook URL. And then based from that, you need to parse the data, right? Get the data from that web params. And in this case, I've identified what I need from that data: the title, category, location, content, contact, so on and so forth. Format these values into a CSV row, and then some additional instructions. And the reason, and this is an iterated version of my prompt, because initially it was pretty straightforward. Hey, collect this data, right, at the top, and then send it to the other block, update Google Sheet. What happened was it appended the headers, which is the title, category, location, every time that I send data to it. So I had to vibe code it again with your MindStudio debugger architect, and then it helped me create a new prompt that will make sure that it parses out, or it takes out the headers from the output being sent by Lovable. And then once it's done, it updates the Google Sheet. And then from here, it's pretty straightforward. Again, you need make sure that you actually link your Google account here. Yeah. And then select the spreadsheet, whether you want it at the bottom or not. For this one, it's at the bottom. And then make sure you add the range of where it needs to post the data. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay. You'll notice as well that I have 3 blocks here. These are my testing blocks because at the first it was successful, but it keeps putting the headers together with the data. So I experimented with some prompts here and there. I also experimented changing the output into JSON, but it still didn't work. Eventually, I just needed a better prompt. So again, don't be afraid of testing your blocks, right? Creating new blocks just to test it. And oh, by the way, quick tip, if you change your block, like for example, you're testing this one, yeah? And then you connect this, remember to refresh your screen. Because if you don't refresh your screen, if you run it, it will still use the old process, the old workflow. That happened to me like 5 times until I realized, hey, if you look at the debugger, it's not actually triggering the new block. So make sure you refresh if you're using a new block. So for this one, just a quick sample. We'll go here. We'll post an announcement. Great session today. Okay, what's the category? It's a greeting. And then okay. And then just choose the contact information here. And then click on this one. Okay. This one is the spinning thing is something that you can vibe code with Lovable. At first, it didn't. So I didn't know what's happening, whether it's sending the data or not. But for this one, you know that it's now sending the data. Okay, I think my agreement with the testing gods is having a lag time as well, because when I tested it this morning, it was running fine. Okay, while we're waiting for this to finish, any questions on the chat for the last agent?
We don't have questions on this last agent, but we do have a little bit of time if you want to go back to a couple of the earlier questions. They're more general questions. So one question is if you can use Lovable Cloud, and then related to that is what type of authentication is there between MindStudio and Lovable?
In terms of MindStudio-Lovable, you need the keys. And then you can simply vibe code this with Lovable as well. So it's setting up your, remember in one of the sessions of the API keys, don't, what you call this, you don't reveal that one. So it's simple to set up. Again, just vibe code it with Lovable. I can send you the videos as well as part of the session here, because you can just read through the chats that I've made with Lovable or the vibe coding that I did, when you just ask it what it needs to do to make sure that it gets or sends the data to your agent. Oh, so it's submission successful. Again, here, let me just show you. We have a new message. Yeah, run completed. So now you're sure I was not lying, right? It ran completely. And then if you look at the Google Sheets, yeah, great session today. And then you can slice and dice it any way you want it. This doesn't restrict you from having Google Sheets as your destination. You can do with the other platforms such as Make, Zapier, and whatnot. I haven't used that. The reason why I wanted it to be Google Sheets, because for this capstone of mine, I want everything to be done by MindStudio. It's my proof of concept that, hey, you can actually have everything working using MindStudio. So it worked.
It's an amazing
Okay,
project. It's very, very impressive.
yeah, thank you. Any other questions on any of the 3 blocks?
There isn't a specific question on the 3 block, but one question that Lewis had was, so at the end of all this, have you had any feedback from the community in Burnaby on this? On your project?
Good question. If you'll notice here, I'm starting to put it on Instagram. So that's where I want to promote it. Nothing yet, because I was in the process of refining the agents, because sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't, and that's where your test and learn comes in. You need to be patient. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your agents, especially on your prompts, which is very critical. If you can't get it by your own, don't be afraid to use the MindStudio Architect or the debugger prompt, or in my case, I also use Copilot. Okay. Any other questions? Violent reactions? This is my first time, so be gentle.
There's one question that Herv is asking. He's saying the last block, where does the message get populated on the website? I can see it being populated in Google Sheets, but what happens after that?
That is the next phase. The target, no, but to quickly answer your question, the target page for that one is this. So you'll see here, once I fix that part, then it will show you a posting here, something to this one. Welcome to the neighborhood, right? ABC store has opened, or happy birthday, Gina, like personal announcements that will be posted here. I'm still playing around with the agent, whether I actually go via make to do it, or again, just go straight up with MindStudio. So that's the thing that I'm still iterating on. Any other questions? Going once, twice.
No
Cool.
questions,
I
just
think
lots
we're
of
sold for today.
appreciation.
We're sold for
Great job,
today.
Milo.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for joining this session. And I hope that you got an idea on how to use the 3 advanced blocks, namely the run workflow block, the HTTP request, and the webhook URL. And again, hoping that you got inspired on what you can build next using these blocks. If there are any comments and suggestions on how we can improve moving on, just send me a quick ping and feel free to hook up with me on LinkedIn. And thank you again for attending the session. Cheers.